Nestled within the crops and fields of Iowa, about 45 minutes southeast of Omaha, Nebraska, sits the quiet town of Malvern. Founded in 1869, Malvern quickly began to thrive with the completion of the railroad, which brought new residents and businesses into the town, and which also allowed factories and nearby farms to prosper. As the population of the town grew, so too did the need for lodging and hotels in the area. One building, called Malvern Manor today, quickly became a focal point within the community. Beginning as a family home in 1869 and becoming the modest cottage hotel soon after, the building has a long and storied history. In 1900, Dr. Averill took possession of the cottage hotel and spent a large amount of money in order to renovate and expand the building into a popular hotel for travelers passing through the town. Although transitioning through several owners throughout the years, the building remained a hotel for travelers and also a community hub for residents of Malvern, as meetings, weddings, and events were frequently held within its lobby. By the 1950s, the building changed owners again, with the new owners electing to transform the building into a nursing and rest home named Nishna Cottage. This new facility was a much-needed addition to the area, with the staff well-trained in the latest healthcare practices. By the 1990s, the building began to also house those who were mentally and physically challenged. However, by the 2000s, the building began to reveal its age, with structural deficiencies forcing the facility to permanently close in 2005. Today, the building, called Malvern Manor, flaunts remnants of its tenure as a residential care facility, with wheelchairs, beds, mattresses, and dressers still standing as they were left in 2005. A large sweeping staircase leads to rooms that no longer house patients, but reminders of their existence remain. Aside from the physical vestiges, the walls, rooms, and hallways of this large building also seem to emanate with impressions from the past, and it seems that many spirits are ensconced within Malvern Manor, which is considered to be one of the most haunted locations in Iowa. It is due to this status that the investigators of Soul Sisters Paranormal decided to visit this historic location, to determine for ourselves if Malvern Manor really is haunted. Can you step up to the meter that Kim's holding again, please? Can you do that for us? Thank you. Thank you. All right, thank you. Our investigation of Malvern Manor was different from our previous investigations for two reasons. The first is that this investigation was completely unplanned and impromptu on our part. What initially started out as a drive-by in order to merely view the location turned into a 4-hour investigation when the owner allowed us to set up our equipment. Secondly, this was an afternoon investigation conducted during daylight hours. After meeting the owner, Josh, we were given a tour of the building, along with a narrative of the paranormal occurrences that are frequent within Malvern Manor. For example, the spirit of a young girl named Susie is reported to inhabit an upstairs bedroom, with the spirit of another girl, Inez Gibson, said to inhabit a neighboring room. We also toured a long hallway, lined with former patient rooms, but which is now reportedly inhabited by a large shadow figure that has been seen exiting one of the rooms and quickly running at visitors who stand in the hallway. Finally, we were shown a room reportedly haunted by a female entity named Gracie, who, it is rumored, was a former patient who lived with multiple personalities during her time in the residential care facility. During the tour, an interesting event occurred. We all heard a loud bang coming from the attic as Josh was conveying the story of an imposing spirit that is reported to reside in this upstairs space. Upon ascending the stairs, Josh noticed a piece of board that was not there before we arrived, nor did it have any reason for being in the attic. It was assumed that it was this board that caused the bang that we had heard earlier. Armed with the information that Josh disclosed, we started setting up some of our equipment. There were 3 Soul Sisters investigators on this investigation, and we quickly set up cameras and voice recorders in various locations throughout the building. For example, we left a stationary camera and a voice recorder in the room reported to accommodate the spirit of Inez Gibson. We left a stationary camera in the hallway where the Shadow Man is said to walk, and we left a stationary camera in the room where Susie's spirit is said to reside. After our equipment set up, we each carried various pieces of handheld equipment, and we proceeded to conduct EVP sessions throughout the building for an investigation that lasted about 4 hours. During the investigation, we conducted EVP sessions in various rooms and hallways, as well as in the attic. During these sessions, we had some interesting spikes on our EMF meters. For example, while standing outside of a room said to belong to a man named Hank, our EMF meter would spike to red on several occasions. Can you step up to the meter that Kim's holding again, please? Can you do that for us? Thank you. Thank you. All right, thank you. The lobby area of Malvern Manor also seemed to have its share of interesting occurrences during our investigation. We had several spikes on our EMF meters that occurred during our EVP sessions. For example, we had 2 EMF meters, which are devices that are designed to measure energy levels, sitting on the floor of the lobby, and we attempted to communicate with an entity known as Harry. While we had a couple of spikes on the EMF meters during this EVP session, our meters truly spiked after Josh placed a picture of Harry on the floor. Is that you in the picture? In addition to the spike on the EMF meters during that question, we also caught an unexpected EVP on our voice recorders. Is that you in the picture? Is that you in the picture? Is that you in the picture? Within Malvern Manor, there's a room reported to be haunted by the spirit of a young girl named Inez Gibson. Documented evidence shows that Inez died from an accidental strangulation in the year 1900. However, she did not die in this building, but rather in a house owned by her uncle located close to the area. However, it seems that the spirit of Inez had decided to take up residence in this upstairs bedroom. During an investigation, we left a stationary camera and a voice recorder in the room. After we had completed an EVP session, we left the room to investigate another area. The voice recorder left in Inez's room then records an EVP that we cannot explain, as no one was in the room at this time. Another EVP that we captured during our investigation was captured during an EVP session in a room reported to house the spirit of Hank. It is reported that Hank does not like women entering his room, and as all Soul Sister investigators are female, we thought that our being in his room could gain a response. After capturing spikes on our EMF meters outside of Hank's room earlier, we decided to set up the EMF meters on the floor of his room. The voice recorder that we were holding captured an EVP response to our questions. Light that meter on the floor to red. Light that meter on the floor to red. Light that meter on the floor to red. Another area in which we left stationary cameras running on their own was the hallway reported to house the shadow figure that has been seen running down the hallway. Approximately 15 minutes after we left the area, the camera caught an EVP that we cannot explain. Again, there were no persons present anywhere near the area when this voice was recorded. A final EVP that we captured during our investigation was caught on our voice recorders during an EVP session in the attic. During our tour, Josh informed us that the spirit reported to reside in the attic was unwelcoming and had a salty vocabulary. During this EVP session, all 3 Soul Sister investigators, Josh, plus 2 women who had stopped in for a day tour were all present. Those of us who were standing near the back corner crawl space of the attic all heard this EVP in the moment, and it sounds to us like a male voice whispering an expletive, followed by the phrase, "Talk to me."
Did you just whisper, Josh? Did you just whisper, Josh? Did you just whisper, Josh?
Located in the small, unassuming town of Malvern, Iowa, adjacent to Main Street, sits a building that has been a stalwart fixture of the community since 1869. Its evolution from hotels to nursing care facilities has allowed its walls to bear witness to the best of life events, such as welcoming travelers to the town, weddings, and community gatherings, to the worst of cases in the forms of patients with mental and physical challenges who died within the many rooms of this long-standing building. While its doors may be closed to travelers, lodgers, and patients, it seems that the once hospitable atmosphere of the building is now offering accommodations to those who wish to forever remain as guests of Malvern Manor.